Hello, everyone. I thought today we'd be doing a bit of bandwagon jumping because I love tier lists and I love Marvel Rivals, as I'm sure most people do. I've been having so much fun with this game, and as season 1.5 is almost over, I haven't really talked about like the strength of that many heroes recently. The last tier list I made was like at the end of season 0, which I know because when I made my last tier list, the bottom was Storm. How times have changed. Spoilers. Uh, but yeah, let's jump right on into things. First we have Cap. Cap is S tier. Okay, I'm kidding. For those who don't know, I'm a Cap Lord. I, I'm so much of a Cap main. I have played so much Cap, like so much more than any other hero. I have Doctor Strange and Luna Snow on like Captain, or whatever the third rank is. I got Captain and Centurion mixed up, and then I have Cap Lord just all the way up there. I have played so much Cap comparative to other heroes, all because of his achievement taking the ages, which got him to rank 3, whichever it is, Captain or Centurion. And then I just ended up loving him. He's so fun, even if he does like no damage. Although if you have the Thor team up, it does really well. No, Cap is, I do think Cap is quite slept on though. I think with the recent buffs to Cap, he's doing so much better. The fact that you can hit flyers in midair now, and the thing people think is that like, oh, Cap can't fight a fly because he's a melee character. But when you're really playing him, he's a soft melee character because if you play him well enough, you can turn him into a mild range character. So, for example, if a Human Torch has just dove and he's flying back up, you can jump, punch him twice, and then when you hit the ground, your Sentinel Strike will activate and you'll be able to throw your shield at him while he's in air above you. This might not kill him, but it'll definitely do a decent amount of damage to make him have to leave the fight if anyone else is with you and also fighting with you. I don't know, you could have like, even an invisible woman, someone who can just do a little bit of range damage, enough that would be able to pick him off, he'd have to leave. It's a bit difficult when it's with someone who can move a bit faster, like Iron Man, but I do think that Cap has some characters that counter him, but he does really well into a lot of others. Like, people have been saying recently that Adam Warlock is really good into dive, and Cap is the reason why I disagree with that, because every time I see an Adam Warlock, it is free real estate. You just jump over the backline. This man has no movement ability. He has Soul Bond, but you can just hit him until he activates Soul Bond, jump out, and then come back for more later. What are they gonna do? Shoot you? Probably. Um, this also, however, does apply to the trend that people think that Adam is a great character, but Adam Warlock players are not, which could be the case. It definitely could be true. Only time will tell, really. But I think Cap is a really good dive character. He's also really good at peeling because of how high his mobility is. His shield is honestly pretty decent if you just need to keep someone alive for a second. I've found it really funny to use with Punisher. If you have a Punisher turret, you just put your shield up in front of him. Speaking of Punisher, Cap is really good into Punisher because you'd think, oh, well, dive characters are bad into Punisher because, you can't just jump at him from the front, he'll just shoot you. But with Cap's bulk, his jump, and his shield, usually he can reflect enough damage onto the Punisher to either get him out of turret or do a fuck ton of damage. Like, enough to get him down to be able to just get out of it. It's really helpful. And his shotgun, you can reflect the bullets back to. It's great. It's awesome. I love Cap. I really do. I love his text. His shift tech is a bit annoying to do, so I don't do it that much, but it's still really good. I've played ton of Cap, mostly in quick play, but I've played a fair few of him in comp too. He works really well with Thor, in my opinion, because Thor can take the front line as a brawl tank, and Cap can take the back line as a dive tank. And in that scenario, you could also have the Thing. The Thing works so well with Cap as well, because he's also a really good brawl tank. But you can use him, his E, his dash 2, which will allow Cap to get the damage resistance, so he doesn't take as much damage when he's fighting the backline. And then Thing also has a damage resistance, so he has a better advantage against the tanks and the DPS that'll be fighting in Brawl. Cap works into a lot of really, really good comps. He has like a few counters, Namor, Penny. Namor isn't too bad because of his natural bulk compared to other dive characters, but Penny's mines will definitely be a worry. Good thing Penny is not as good as Cap. Spoilers. We will get to that later, though. Now, Doctor Strange. This is my second most played character, I think. At least my second most played tank. I love Doctor Strange. I think he does so much damage. He has the big shield. He has the portal. He's just so important. He has AoE Fire Strike. Everything Strange does is just really good. And I think people are underrating Strange because of how the meta has gone on. I personally think Strange is S tier. Yep. Nothing's changed in Season 0, baby. Yeah, I don't see why people really say that Strange is less than S tier, because compared to other tanks, I mean, Strange has the big shield. Strange has really good damage. He has a really good ult. He has the team up with Hulk, which isn't really as good for Iron Man anymore. It got nerfed, but it's still really good for Strange, especially since it removes the anti-heal that you would have got from holding the E for too long. It also allows you to It allows you to do pretty much a one-shot combo against 275 HP characters. Like, who has 275 HP? I'm forgetting, sorry. I brain fart. Isn't Hela? No, Hela got 25 HP removed. Oh, it was Hawkeye, I think. Hawkeye has 275 HP now. I believe so. Wolverine has 300. Iron Fist has 300? Or does he have... Iron Fist either has 275 or 300. I'll check later. It doesn't matter. But Strange. I love Strange. I love his melee animation cancels. I love the amount of damage he puts out. I love the the shield resistances that you can use to stop ults. I love how you can use the shield and you can use his levitate to mess with like flying ults. You can go up and block Hela's ult. You can block Star-Lord's ult in mid-air. Oh, there's so many fun things you can do. It's so funny to see. And Strange's Levitate is a really good dive out. He has so many good abilities. And he's just such a great, well-rounded character, in my opinion, that I cannot give him anything less than S tier. I do think the nerfs have been a bit heavy on him, the damage reduction, or the damage fall-off from his E. And his HP nerf. His losing 50 HP was pretty big. He only has 600 HP now, I think. He had 650 before. That's a little annoying because the tank's got a tank, and when you have less HP, spoiler alert, you're a worse tank. But yeah. Now Groot. Okay. Now Groot's interesting. Groot is probably the tank that I've played the least because I have a friend who is a really, really good Groot player. And because of that, I don't really play against good Groots because I have one of the best Groots I've ever seen. But with the way Groot can be played, he outputs a ton of damage. He has a great ult, which works really well when combined, with other characters. You've got the Moon Knight ult, you've got the Namor ult, you've got Scarlet Witch ult if you really want to, you've got Squirrel Girl ult, Storm ult, Punisher ult, Winter Soldier ult. So many different ults combined with it in so many similar ways that can just result in a team wipe. The walls are excellent for cover, but they're also great for displacement and singling out enemy tanks, enemy DPS, enemy overfeed. I would say overextending healers, but that is called feeding. It's a very different thing. Any feeding, like healers, just anyone who misplays, really, Groot can build a fort around you and put you in the ground. It's like the Amazing World of Gumball when Mr. Fitzgerald, he says, "I'm gonna build a house around you with no doors or windows," when he's parodying that Liam Neeson movie I forget the name of. But yeah, Groot's really good. Groot has like a lot of damage. His team-ups aren't great in my opinion, compared to someone like Cap and Strange. I think his team-ups with Rocket just I mean, it doesn't do much. I think it's honestly kind of bad because you don't want your healer to be frontlining with you. Like, Rocket can do damage while he's on it, but you kind of want to be healing, and you want to be healing from a distance. And Jeff does even less, because it's a bit harder to heal downwards as Jeff unless you use your bubbles, which, that's fine, but it's not doing too much. Groot, however, I think, even without, like, that many good team-ups, I think he might be bottom of S tier, because he's a really, really good tank. Bit countered by Wolverine. We have to mention this. Wolverine is very, very good right now. Spoilers, but some tanks are definitely affected more than others by him. Namely, I'd say, Thing obviously isn't. Penny. Magnus was debatable. Is Thor? I'm not too sure actually, because Thor has a really good dive out, but we'll get there. We'll get there. Groot though. Groot can. When Wolverine gets to Groot, I think it's really easy for Groot to get killed, to get destroyed, to get turned into, like, thrown in the crop shredder, whatever it's called. Wolverine just turns him into Baby Groot at that point from Guardians 2. Makes him dance for him for joy. But at the same time, I think Groot's really good at preventing that. At keeping, like, the Wolverine away. Making it so he has to get through a ton of walls and go through the whole team if he actually has to do it. But if the Wolverine does a good flank, I think Groot might get destroyed, honestly. But still, I think Groot and that spot in S tier. Groot's really good. Ooh, Hulk. I've started playing a lot of Hulk recently. I really like him. I think he's really fun. But I don't know how good he is. Because I think Hulk is a character that takes a bit of mastery. And we were getting there where it took a bit of mastery. But he was really carried by the team-up. The team-up with Strange and Iron Man was so good. Iron Man would do so much more damage, and Strange wouldn't have to worry about the anti-heal, so he could just play as aggressive as he wanted at all times. But Hulk, his bubbles are great for earning gold, and I've realized recently that his ult is actually really good if you just know when to jump and use the M2. He works really well as a dive character. He works really well with Thing. And he can also take on flyers because of how good his jump is, too. There's a lot the Hulk can do, but I feel like he's a bit of a jack-of-all-trades, master of none. Because there's nothing in particular he does well more than the other tanks. I think Hulk is, like, low A. I'm sorry, like, poor guy. I feel bad. Honestly, I think he might be in B. Maybe Hulk needs a bit of a buff. Maybe he needs, like, more of an ability. No. I think he's definitely low A. He has the E. I forgot about the E. The E's a really good stun ability. It stops people from being healed, I believe. But it also stops you from doing damage to them. The Exiled. And I think that's really solid. Hulk's ult is also really good. A lot better than I expected. And I feel like there's a lot you can do with it. I mean, it's really good for crowd control. It's like Primal Winston. I used to play Overwatch. Not much. Well, I played Overwatch for a few years. I was not very good at it, but I liked it. And then I tried to get back into it, and then Overwatch 2 happened, and no. Although it'd be fun to go back to it eventually. A man who hasn't played Overwatch since Overwatch 1 gets back into Overwatch 2. Anyway, Hulk. It does a lot more damage than Winston's Primal Rage, and it has a bit more of a ranged ability. I think Hulk is very, very balanced, and I like that. Hulk feels like a character who has a lot of skill expression, who has a lot of, like, combinations you can do with people. He works well into a lot of different comps. But when you're comparing balance to a game that has a lot of heroes that have really, really, really good abilities, like, the idea behind this game is if everything is broken, nothing is, you tend to struggle a bit. So I think Hulk is on the cusp between B and low A, which is unfortunate because I do really like him. Now, Magneto. I'm sure this will surprise no one. Magneto is the best tank in the game. I thought Strange was the best tank for a while, but then I feel like recently Magneto's been popping off a lot more. The bubbles are just, if you've played Overwatch, you know Zarya's bubbles are good. You're able to just save your supports, save your DPS when they dive in. You can get like a Star-Lord to dive in, press E, get a ton of ult charge by bubbling him. You can bubble him when he ults. You can bubble your Punisher when he ults. You can bubble Scarlet Witch when she ults, and that gives you the Scarlet Witch combo, which, while you need to have Scarlet Witch to do it, it's really good. It gives Magneto so much more damage and piercing capabilities because he hits through several people. And the hitbox also makes it so he can usually hit several people sitting side to side. Magneto has the shield, which takes a bit of getting used to because of how short it is now, but it's more like Diva Defense Matrix, really. You can use it to stop ults as well. It's really good. His M1, his primary fire, that got buffed. He does more damage now, which is really good. His M2 is really good for pushing people back, finishing people off. He doesn't have that much mobility. His ult is also... I think his ult is a little overrated, but because of the fact that it's burst damage, and it's not the hardest thing in the world to hit, people have been using it a lot more recently as a tool to kill ulting supports, because he works really well into triple support meta. He was able to kill Cloak and Dagger, and now a lot of people are learning how to kill Luna with it. You can do a lot of good things with Magneto's ult. Plus, you can use it defensively to stop Punisher ults, to stop Star-Lord ults. It works really well in that case to protect a team. Magneto is just the best at protecting his team, as far as I believe. There's not too much to say about him compared to other tanks, to be honest. He's just really good. And, yeah, moving on. Penny. Okay. For a while, Penny was bugged. She was bugged so if you did any damage to her mines, they would break. But that got fixed recently. If that wasn't fixed, Penny would be G tier. Genuinely. She would be one of the worst characters in the game. But now that it's fixed, I don't think that improves it that much. I think most people agree that Penny's the worst tank in the game because she just doesn't have that much going on. She doesn't have great damage output when she wants. She has a 3-second stun, which is great, but it doesn't do that much, really, when you don't take advantage of it, which is a bit difficult to do. I mean, you've got Thing, who can, knock people up. You've got Thor, who has his dash, which knocks people up. You've got Venom, who just has infinite HP. Hulk has his stun, which lasts so much longer. Cap can just go, dive for backline. He doesn't stun anyone, but he does, decent damage. He has his spread damage with the E. He can bash with the F. He works into a lot of things. He just never dies, pretty much. Groot just craps out damage. Same with Strange. Same with Magneto, really. With his ult, at least. And if you play his M1, M2 game, right? Penny's just really struggling. I think she's better because we're in a bit of a dive meta right now. We're in a dive brawl meta. But poor Penny, man. She is just... she can't catch a break. I think that her ult is really, really underwhelming too, compared to all the other tanks. Because you've got, alright, kill supports, crowd control... Oh, shit. You've got kill all the supports. You've got crowd control and AoE stun. You've got crowd control and AoE stun. You've got support ult to keep everyone alive. You've got, alright, now you're a super being who can do a ton of damage and stun people. And then you've got places mines faster and gets a bit more HP. Poor Penny, really. She deserves better, especially since she's Gerard Way's creation. I'm sure he's very disappointed. That actually begs the question. Do you think Gerard Way is playing Marvel Rivals right now? Is he like a Penny maid? That'd be so cool. Anyway, onto the good tanks. Thing. Thing is really, really good. I love Ben. Ben's a baller. I love his accent. I love his design. He's just so fun to play, and I'm going to give him top of A tier. Ben is the brawl tank. He is so good. He spreads damage with his M2. He gets the Yangtze Street Charge, which knocks people up, and then temporarily reduces movement abilities when it slams into the ground. He gets his E to dive in. He gets his E to dive out. He gets his E to give damage resistance. He's just so good. You can just M2, bam, hit everyone, and then you use the M1 to finish people off. He struggles against flyers, same with Cap, but so much worse because he literally doesn't have anything to deal with them unless they're really low and you can M2 them. But by God, he's good. And, unlike Strange and Groot, his ult is crowd control that hits through shields. Small problem is you can jump over it, I believe, with like power jump abilities, or you can jump out of it, but man, it's so good to use combined with like other ults or just using it to pound people with the M2. Ben works so well, and he has the team up with Invisible Woman. The team up is so good. It gives him so much more survivability, and Invisible Woman's, you know, spoiler, she's good. I won't say how good, but she's good. It gives him, it just works so well. Especially with Thing, because he just, you know, he lives a lot longer than Johnny or Reed. He does struggle a bit into like tank shredders because he has no real like shield or anything to stop him from just being shot in the face. So something like Punisher or a face tanking Wolverine, I guess you can just fight him, but if he's got good enough healing, chances are he'll probably do more damage to you than you're doing to him. But Wolverine can't actually charge you, and I forgot to say this. Thing has a passive ability where he can't get hit by CC. Soft CC specifically. Because there's two types of CC. There's soft CC and there's hard CC. Soft CC is displacement abilities. Things that move you around, that pull you, that push you, that fly you somewhere else. So stuff like, you know, Invisible Woman's pull or push, Wolverine's leap, Spider-Man's pull. Ben is immune to all of that, but he can still get stunned. He doesn't get stunned by, he gets stunned by his own ult. He doesn't avoid that. He gets stunned by Strange's ult, by Groot's ult, I think actually. No, Groot's ult stuns him in place, but it doesn't pull him towards the middle. I remember that. He can still get stopped by Squirrel Girl's M2, by Squirrel Girl's team up. So you can still stop him, you just can't displace him. Which is good, because that means that if a Jeff eats you, he can't push you off the map. Unless he jumps off the map himself. But all that adds up to Ben being such a good tank. I wouldn't have expected him to be this good, but he is so fun, he's so good. He is also really balanced, but he is more of what I want to see from balance because he is a lot better than Hulk. I'll give him that. Thor. Okay, Thor's interesting. I used to play a lot of Thor. I haven't played as much of him recently. Thor is basically a big DPS. Like, Thor does a lot of damage if you play him right. He works really well. I've been watching a lot of Cosmonaut recently, Cosmonaut Variety Hour, and he plays Thor all the time when he plays Marvel Rivals. And I watched Flat's video on the number one Thor, because there were two types of Thor playstyles. There was the flanking 1v1 Awoken form Thor, and then there was the, you know, get it done 9 to 5, peel back, save your team Thor. Thor's really good at that stuff, because he's basically a DPS, he can peel really well, he can knock people up, and fight people on like 1v1s a decent bit away, or just displace people in general, which gives them a good chance to, like you can say, you can push Strange away, which knocks him back so his shield isn't in front of his team anymore, and then your team can use a pulse bomb from Iron Man or something and just kill a few. It works really well. His team up with Cap is really good. It doesn't do anything for Thor, but it makes Cap's damage output really good. It also buffs Storm, which isn't as good, but it does give her Chain Lightning, which can hit several people or hit around corners. Which is really... I mean, you can do some fun stuff with it, I'll give it that. Storm doesn't really need the buff, though, because we'll get there. But yeah, Thor's pretty solid. I think he's taken a little bit of a fall off recently because of how he's a pretty great Brawl tank, and then we have Thing, who's an even better Brawl tank. But I think he's a bit better than Cap. because he fits into more comps, and he works really well with Thing, and also Cap. And obviously any of the shield tanks, because shield tanks are just really good. I don't have much more to say about Thor, honestly. I feel like that's a really short summary. Anyway, Venom. I think Venom is the hardest tank to judge, because from my games, Venom players kind of suck. Now, one of my friends has been picking up Venom recently, and I think that he can do really well when he's played correctly. You know, you just dive in, you hook everyone around you, you start doing some damage, you dive out, oh, you use your shields, take some more damage, you have like 60% ult charge, you dive out. His ult can keep him alive, his shields keep him alive, his M2 keeps people like near him. He does a decent bit of damage, he's a really good dive tank, but I feel like dive is all he does. I don't think Venom is really good at peeling. I think his team up with Penny and Spider-Man is not that good. I think it's okay. It's good when you want to do a Spider-Man one-shot combo, and a lot of Spider-Man players can use that well. But I don't think it's as good on Penny, and needing to have the Spider-Man makes it so you're kind of fully committing to dive. And while dive can be good, with triple support meta, it is with triple support being in a lot of places, I wouldn't say it's meta right now because we've kind of learned how to play against it. I think it's very difficult to play Venom, Spider-Man into a lot of those kinds of comps. So your team up kind of gets underused. And also, I just don't really know what tank Venom is good with. Like, you can say, oh yeah, Cap, because Cap's also a dive character, but with Cap, you kind of want to be 1v1ing the backline while your team pushes forward. And you can't have your DPS fighting their entire team while both of your tanks are fighting the healers. Like, even if they kill them, then what? They turn around, the team is dead, and it's a 2v5 or 2v4? I don't think that works too well. I think Venom's ult is good. It works well into, like... Sometimes you can combine it to do enough damage to kill Luna out of her ult, but that does rarely happen. I don't think that's going to work that well. So I think Venom is B tier. I don't think Venom's as good as these tanks. I think he's better than Penny, obviously. I think he's on the cusp of A. I think just something that made him maybe a bit better into Brawl. I think he'd do better. He's a really good dive tank. He just can't do much else. But with that, that is all of the tanks. And that only took 27 minutes. Okay, this will be a long one. Black Panther. God, I can't play Black Panther in, like, comp to save my life. I'll be completely honest. Black Panther's really good at dive, but because of the fact that he isn't a tank, he's a DPS. I think that's a bit of a better strength to him than it is with Venom, because when you play Black Panther, you can do like the M2 M2 dash dash one shot combo, or you can do M2 dash M2 dash, or M2 dash dash M2 dash dash, which gets you more dashes technically. E to finish anyone off, and you'll just do really well in general because it is so hard to hit a good Black Panther because he's just on the left, on the right, on the left, on the right, on the left, on the right. It's like playing tennis. Playing tennis, watching two, like, Thing and Hulk throw around a Wolverine. It's crazy, honestly. I think Black Panther's really good, though. I think triple support has definitely made him a little worse. And compared to a character that can, like, pull people away, or push people in and distract them a lot more, I feel like he's also in like the Hulk realm where he's on the cusp of A and B, but I don't quite know where to put him. I think I have to put him in like high B. It's unfortunate, honestly. Sorry, T'Challa, but I had to do it to you. His abilities are really good though. His team up with Magic, I don't think it's that impactful because you have to have 2, maybe 3 DPS if you want to have it with Psylocke as well. I think it's still good, it's just not as good as other ones. Widow. Oh, his ult too. His ult is one of the less impactful ones because it tags everyone in front of you, but most people use it as a I fucked up. I'm now going to use this to reapply my tags or to finish off my target. Widow. I want to be a contrarian. I want to say Widow's good. I can't. She's one of the worst characters, which is unfortunate because I think she's really fun. She has a sniper that does around 245 damage for a headshot, which can't one-shot anyone except Bruce Banner, and not Hulk, just Bruce Banner. She has a bit of an underwhelming ult. It's better now, but it's still a little underwhelming. It doesn't do too much. She doesn't have great... She has okay mobility, but it's nothing special. And her kick and pull is just not that interesting as an ability. You can't use it too well. She has her batons too, which don't do anything really. Why are you playing melee with Black Widow? There's just nothing extraordinary about the kit, and she's really not that fun. She's not that good in general. That's all I can really say. She's not very impactful. She has some combos that work. You can use it with Mantis, who gives her a damage boost, which will make her headshots one-shots. You can use Storm to do the same thing, but just play someone else. And by someone else, I mean Hawkeye. He's right here. Come on, he goes in the A tier or something. I feel like if I'm gonna rank this, I'd probably put Hawkeye about here. Because I feel like Hawkeye is still really good. He's inconsistent, but he's really good. Now that he takes a bit more for the charge, because if you don't know, Hawkeye has... you remember Hanzo from Overwatch? Hanzo would be a bit of an annoying character for a while, because he'd charge up a shot, and then he'd shoot. And then he'd charge up a shot, and he'd shoot. He'd charge up a shot, and he'd shoot. And you could just do that at a point for a while. And eventually he'd hit someone in the head, and they just killed him. But with Hawkeye, you have to be looking at someone to gain charge, and then you fire, and then the charge does, like, the most amount of damage. The charge builds up slower now, I believe, and it has less of a distance on it. You have to be, like, I think it's 30 meters or 40 meters or something, and it was much, much bigger before. So now Hawkeye has to be looking at someone if he wants to actually do proper damage. And he can still do up to 400 damage in a headshot, which is huge. It is massive. It is so impactful, and Hawkeye can sometimes just dominate you before you even get a chance to think. His ult is still okay. It's one of the less impactful ones, but it's fine. His team up with Black Widow is not very good. Apart from his, like, one-shot potential, Hawkeye just doesn't have that much going on. He has a bit of a boop, but it's not fully necessary. I feel like Dive makes Hawkeye a bit worse. That's why he's dropped a bit from S tier, along with the nerfs as well. He's just very inconsistent, but his one-shot potential does carry him a lot. And that's all I can really say about Hawkeye. There's not much. Speaking of characters who were OP in Season 0, Hela. Nothing has changed. Okay, something has changed. Hela did get nerfed. She got less HP. She got, I think, more of a damage drop-off. And then they changed it and gave her less of a damage drop-off. Hela's really good right now. Because we've got people like Storm, Human Torch, Iron Man running around. Flyers do really badly into hitscan characters. That's why Punisher, that's why Hela, they're both really, really good into that. And Hela does a lot of damage. She has her own get out ability. Her ult is good, but it's gotten a bit worse as time's gone on because you can just shoot her. And, like, it takes a while, but you can just shoot her and it'll kill her. It won't kill her. It'll knock her out of her ult, and then you can kill her. Which is still a little annoying, but I feel like she is pretty much just carried by the fact that if you can aim, you can do a ton of damage. Like, 2 headshots on Hela and someone's pretty much dead. And you can do that so quickly. What she has above Hawkeye is consistency, frankly. Hawkeye can do 400 damage, but you have to charge it up, look, charge, 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 hit a headshot. And Hela's just like, pew, pew, and you have like 5 HP. And anything could finish you off. A Jeff could finish you off. A Bruce Banner could finish you off. A Baird could poop on you, and that would finish you off, probably. Literally anything. Hela's really, really good. She has the team up with Thor and Loki, which means she can revive them. Thor and Loki are both pretty solid characters, and that can honestly just change the entire course of a fight. I think she's pretty good. Now, Human Torch. Ooh. We get into a bit of a controversial one, because a lot of people were saying the Human Torch isn't that good. I disagree. I've been playing a lot of Human Torch. I really like him. He's a dive character, but he's a flying dive character. and he does more damage when you place his little fire orbs around people. You can also use him for area denial if you plant his fire orbs and then you create like a microwave. That's all I call it. I know it's like a flame field, but I like calling it the microwave. And when you put people in the microwave, you know, they take damage over time. You can use it for a lot of ult charge. Unfortunately, his ult is the most underwhelming thing about him. Supernova is not that good, especially when it's countered by a lot of support ults compared to other ults like Moon Knight or sometimes Storms. But Supernova does one really good thing, and it extends Storm's ult from 5 seconds to 11 seconds if she goes into all 3 flame tornadoes. You are over doubling the duration of an already pretty strong ult, which is really, really good. And its damage output is so much better right now. It's so much more consistent. They also increase the speed of the M1 projectile, so his shotgun will hit much faster, which makes things so much easier for fighting other Human Torches, which doesn't happen as often anymore. But I still think it's really, really good. Human Torch, I'm putting him in A. I think he's like probably here. He's better than Hulk. I think Human Torch is really slept on. I think he's so good. He's so fun. He's so annoying, which is canon to Johnny's lore. That's right. Every Thing player must hate every Johnny player. Speaking of dive characters, Iron Fist. The Plague of Bronze. A lot of low-level people do not like this character. I, however, do, because I don't think he is that good. I think he's better than Penny because he's a decent dive character who can play pretty well. His recent changes giving him more HP and making him able to get even more HP when he meditates. That's really good. He has percent-based damage now, which means he can do more damage to tanks. He can't just hit the supports and squishies standing behind. He has the team up with Luna, which I never really see used, but I think it's decent. Overall, I just think the problem with Iron Fist is that it's really hard to commit to the dive sometimes. When you have someone like Spider-Man who can leave whenever he wants, like Black Panther who just patiently waits and gets a one-shot combo, compared to Iron Fist who has only his kick, which does good damage, but sometimes you have to use it to dive out rather than dive in. He doesn't have as many bases covered for a dive character, and he just pales in comparison to the rest of them. If you like Iron Fist, I recommend you play Black Panther or Spider-Man. Just play someone else who fits that kind of comp. I just don't think he does that well. Iron Man, though. Iron Man's an interesting one, because he recently got buffed. They made it so his overdrive, his armor overdrive ability, increases his damage a lot more. But his team up, his Gamma Overdrive, increases it a lot less, so he's not as reliant on the team up. This is one of the reasons Hulk has fallen off. But this makes Iron Man a lot better. And I'd say he's probably better than Johnny right now. I'd say he's probably here. The reason I don't think he's any higher is because Namor is very popular, and Storm is very popular. So you might not want to deal with those characters who counter his flying or fly better than him, because sometimes a good Storm can just delete you, and then you just feel silly for even playing Iron Man. His Unibeam does great damage, his M1 does even more damage now. They made it so hitting someone directly does less damage, but the explosion surrounding them does more. So that's a net positive in general. It means that you'll eventually do more damage with your M1s, which I thought was quite underwhelming. I didn't see much reason to not use the M2 Unibeam. His ult is also pretty good. You can use it to kill Luna out of Herald, to kill Sue out of Herald, to kill Cloak and Dagger out of their ult. It can be blocked, and it does have a bit of a tell, which is unfortunate, but you can combine it with like strange ults, and you can do all kinds of fun things with it. Iron Man's really good. I like playing with Iron Man a lot. I like playing healer with Iron Man, because I think it's really interesting to try and keep them alive sometimes. It makes things a bit of a harder objective. Whatever, it's fun. Magic. Ooh. A good Magic player is absolutely terrifying. But a bad Magic player is just free. But I think Magic's good, honestly. I think Magic is great because she's not just a dive character, she's also a bit of a semi-brawl tank with how she gives herself shields often. Her abilities are really good. They're a bit basic, but it gives her a bit of a one-shot combo. Dark Child can be an underwhelming ult, but once you're aware of the damage fall off, you can use it to do a lot more damage. But I still think it's not the greatest ult. I think Magic's team up is okay, it doesn't add that much to the table, but I think Magic as a character is someone that benefits a lot from having a good team, but at the same time, she can do really, really well on her own. I think Magic is another character on the cusp of being A, but I think she knocks it into A tier, unlike Black Panther. Good old Reed Richards. I feel so sorry for this man. He came out, everyone's like, he's the worst DPS. He's awful. He should be a tank. And then he got like buffed, and everyone's like, oh, you know, this sounds pretty good. This is pretty. And like, he's the worst DPS immediately again because now when he uses his E that I don't remember the name of, he like jumps to people and inflates. He pushes them away, which means he can't combo anymore. Which people think is a lot bad. I don't think it's that bad. I still think Reed is good when you use him as an off tank. I still think he can do great spread damage. I think his ult is really good. I think he's a lot better. And I think that using him to protect people is also really good. So I don't think he's that bad. I think he's a high C character. The Sue team up gives him a lot more survivability. He can do a lot in general. I just think that he's a little underwhelming compared to other DPS and even other tanks. I guess he can work with Ben, like you run Ben, Reed, Johnny, Storm, Sue, and then some other healer maybe. But for now, I think Reed is going to stay a bit lower, which is unfortunate because he's really fun. And he's really funny. He's goofy. He's having a good time. Every single Mr. Fantastic player is having a good time. He's a really fun character. My boy, Moon Knight. Can't you heal me? God, I've been reading so many Moon Knight comics recently. I'm on Mark Spector Moon Knight, like issue 38 or something. I'm reading Blood Brothers Part 3 right now. Is it called Blood Brothers? I think it's called Blood Brothers. I adore Moon Knight. Moon Knight is my favorite Marvel hero. He is not my favorite Marvel Rivals hero. I don't think he's that good. I don't think he's as bad as people say though. I think he does really good spread damage. He's a real pest. His ult is really great when combined with Groot, but it's not as good anymore because they nerfed it, which is really unfortunate. I still think he does good damage. You just need to have like decent aim with him. And he's really good into Loki, which is really good because Loki's a very popular character right now. His team up with Cloak and Dagger sucks. It doesn't add much. It gives him a bit of healing over time. I think he's gonna be like in the low B, but he's on the cusp of C and B. I think he's just. I'm sorry, he's not that good. Mark, I love you, but no. Can't you? Why am I in B tier? Namor. Now, this is where things get interesting. Because Namor. I know he pronounces his name as Namor, but everyone else calls him Namor. Namor. The anti-dive character in a place where dive characters got buffed. Dive character got buffed. Dive character. Dive character. Dive character just got buffed. Dive character. Dive character. Dive-ish character. Flying character. Flying character. Namor is like the ultimate counterpick character. You just play him because you hate whoever the enemy is playing. If they're flying and they're being really annoying, you play Namor. If they're flanking and being really annoying, you play Namor. Namor's got you covered. Pick Namor. His ult is really good. You can combine it with Groot, you can combine it with Strange, you can combine it with just using it on top of a dancing Luna. She's too busy busting it down to see the giant fish flying at her. Fish! And then it just, you know, immediately kills her. It's really good. It does like... Is it 250 or is it 500? I think it's 500 damage if it hits you in the center. But yeah, Namor's M1, M2 combo is really good. His fish, his team up with Luna is really, really good. It can, you know, damage things. It can slow them. It can freeze them. Namor is just such a great all-around character. He's probably a bit better than this, actually. He's probably, like, above Groot. Psylocke's interesting because a good Psylocke's really good, but Namor exists and like Thing exists, and it's really easy to peel now, and there's a lot of flies. I think she does worse into like a lot of this as Magic does, so I think she's definitely worse than Magic. But I also don't think she's that bad. It's interesting because I'm just not quite sure. I think I'm gonna put Psylocke on high B. I think Psylocke's still good. I'm just not sure. She's the character that I'm the least sure about because I haven't seen a lot of Psylocke playing comp recently. And in general, it's just there's so much going against her. Her ult is not very good anymore. Her damage output's really good, but it's just not as good as any of the DPS above her. I just recommend playing them, really. Even if they do completely different roles, I just don't see the point in playing Psylocke. Scarlet Witch is the worst character in the game. This is no surprise to anyone. Scarlet Witch, she doesn't have great burst damage. She has an auto-aim attack that does damage over time. Her ult is, while it got buffed recently, it still doesn't do very well. You can combine it with a Strange Pulse, you can combine it with an Invisible Woman ult. It makes it better, but you shouldn't have to combine things like that for it to be good. When you have a character like Strange, who can just and then start killing everyone, or Magneto, who just chucks a rock at someone and it kills them. It's unfortunate, it really is. Because I do like Scarlet Witch's character. And I like her skins, too. Her skins are really, really good. But she just doesn't do too well. She has a get out ability, but it doesn't work too well, especially when it removes healing from you for a few seconds. Because it makes it so while you're, like, in the phase form, you can't be healed during. Her team up with Magneto is good, I'll admit, but he doesn't really need it. And it's gotten to the point where I've seen comp play that has someone play Scarlet Witch at the beginning of the game, so Magneto gets the team up and then immediately switch. They switch to like Cloak and Dagger and then they just come back. That's the amount of input Scarlet Witch is having in comp games, and that is so disappointing. Spider-Man. Spider-Man's a complicated character, which we all know, because we've all tried to play Spider-Man and realized, wow, there is a lot to do here. His damage output isn't amazing. Ironic, right? He's the amazing Spider-Man. He's really annoying, though. He's really good at diving one character and killing them. His combo with Venom gives him a one-shot combo where he does, I think it's M2E F punch C, and that's a one-shot. That does 250 damage. And that's really good. I think that definitely makes him better than Psylocke and Black Panther. Especially when he has so much more mobility around the map. But he's also a character who I think takes so much to do. Like the average Spider-Man player presses so many buttons to get one kill, it's insane. I'd give him low A though. I think he's like the lowest A character. I don't think anyone's really going to top that. His abilities are fine. His ult is really good. But Invisible Woman can push his ult away, which is really unfortunate. Ultimately, I think this is the highest I can give Pete. Squirrel Girl. Squirrel Girl's interesting. Her M2 stun is good. The Spider-Man team-up is good, but I don't think you'll ever have a Squirrel Girl and a Spider-Man on the same team, because it's a really weird comp in general. She does great damage, but she is a bit of a mindless spam character. Her ult, it's good, but you can destroy it. And a lot of people have just learned how to destroy it. And frankly, despite her really good damage output, I think I just have to give her, like, maybe B, above Venom, below Black Panther. I can't really say much because of how simple her character is. She can do well. She can sometimes do poorly. She's not great against flyers. She's good on maps like Clintar, where you can just spam a choke, but ultimately I think it's just not the best choice. Star-Lord. Oh lord. A good Star-Lord player is a sight to behold, I tell you. It's like if Tracer was on crack. You know, doing flips everywhere and flying around, using all kinds of jet fuel. Whoa! Star-Lord players are insane, seriously. I respect Star-Lord players and his team up with Mantis and with Adam Warlock, giving them all extra lives. That is insane. That is disgusting. And all you really have to do the sacrifice to get it is to just have like a little bit less healing output if you're only running Adam Warlock healing, Adam Mantis healing, sorry, because they're like two of the lesser output of healing characters. But Star-Lord's recent buff to his boots make it so he never runs out of jet fuel. His flips give him iframes. He does insane things. His damage output is crazy. His ult is comparatively a little underwhelming. It's still good. It's still really good for picking off backline, but just the fact that it's auto aim means that it's not as good as the rest of his kit, especially when Magneto is running around everywhere, and you know his ult counters that. But Star-Lord, I can't deny it. He gets the ST. He gets the low ST right there. Storm is another case that while she is countered by Namor, Storm is really good. Storm does so much damage. She gives the team a damage buff. She gives the team a speed buff. She does like damage over time in her electric field. She has a Rem 2 to finish things off. She has the team up with Cap, which she can hit around corners, hit several people with the chain lightning. Her ult is insane, and it can be extended to 11 seconds with Human Torch. How is this? How can this not be like S tier? She is so good. And she used to be like the worst character in the game. Storm is amazing right now. I'm the Punisher. Punisher's interesting because he is like the most basic character in the game. He's Shooty McGoon guy. He is John Call of Duty. He is Sledge. He is Soldier 76. I haven't played TF2, so I don't know like the joke that would be there. Probably just Soldier, I guess. I don't know. But he's still good. He's good against flyers because he's hitscan. His AR does good damage. His smoke does surprisingly decent damage. And it also gives him cover. His mobility can work really, really well with his zipline. His ult is really good when you use it at the right time, and you can bubble him, you can shield him, you can damage boost him sometimes with magic. It does a lot of good things. His shotgun is amazing against tanks, and it's really, really good against like Thing, Thor, other brawl tanks that don't have a shield. And I think, frankly, just because of the shotgun and the AR when it comes to, you know, going against flying characters, going against Namor where he can shoot the things, he can do so many things. He is probably like a... yeah, I'd say he's probably like a mid-A character. Punisher does really well. Bucky is S tier. Bucky is like right here. That is Wolverine. Bucky is like right here. Bucky is insane. Bucky is such a great character. 3 shots, 3 abilities. All 3 of them reload, all 3 of them give him shield. One is a hook, he can pull the tank just out of their backline, out of their front line, whatever. Pull them in, everyone jumps them, immediately dies, and then wait a few seconds, do it again to the next one. He has an E slow, which also reloads all his bullets, gives him shield. He has his punch, which is a great mobility tool and a get out tool. His ult is the best thing about him. You smack someone, you kill them. You smack someone, you kill them. You smack someone, you kill them. Again, 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 again. It works on Loki clones. He's insane. He is so insane. A good Bucky player is terrifying. You have good aim, you start hitting headshots, you do so much damage. Especially after you've used your ult. If anyone kills a character you've ulted, you get kill credit, which gives you your ult again. It's just, it's insane. There's nothing else I can say. His team up with Rocket, I didn't mention this about Punisher. The team up with Rocket is okay, but you don't get to use it that much. I think Punisher benefits from it more, but Bucky can still use it decently. I think you'd rather have a proper healer than Rocket, though. Wolverine. I mean, come on, man. Wolverine is also S tier. I don't think he's... I mean... I'm a tank player. I play a lot of tank. Wolverine is terrifying. He's just this tiny Canadian man who's like, I'm gonna get you. I'm gonna get you. He comes up behind you. He just grabs you, sends you flying out to the stratosphere, and is like, yeah, now it's just us. We can fight, bitch. And they just destroy you. And it's the scariest thing imaginable. A good Wolverine is horrifying as a tank player. You could argue that he doesn't really do well into the squishies, into the supports. The fastball special is not very interesting, even if it's funny as a team up. It's the funniest team up in the game. It's from the comics. It's really cool, but it doesn't do too much in game. His ult is okay. It does help him a lot when it comes to fighting squishies, and he can do a lot of damage to them in general. His last stand ability is really good. His mobility is really good. It really helps him to get the flanks off. I think that makes Wolverine a pretty freaking high character. Adam Warlock. Now, we mentioned Adam Warlock a lot earlier. And I think that Adam Warlock is just so interesting because there's a lot you can do with him. His Soul Bond is basically an ult. His Revive can go absolutely hard in a team fight. His healing output can be really good. And he can do so much damage once you learn to aim with him. I really think I can't give him anything less than A tier. His team up too. His team up is just, it's insane. That's all I can say. It is so good. There's so many characters I put at A tier, but I just can't resist. But Cloak and Dagger. RIP for a real one. Cloak and Dagger got nerfed. They got buffed recently, actually, which was a bit significant. It helped them out a lot with the healing port side of things, but with their ults doing less healing, with the overall just not being as good compared to other characters that have ultra healing abilities, I think Cloak and Dagger are not that interesting in general. I think you'd rather just play someone else. They're gonna be like, maybe here. In like the B. They're not bad, just not as good as others. Invisible Woman. I mean, come on, man. There's literally there's not much I can say here. Invisible Woman is one of the best characters in the game. You know what? Fuck this. I think this is the comp, yeah. Invisible Woman is one of the best characters in the game. She has really good healing. She has a shield. She has a push, a pull. She has an ult that makes it so everyone doesn't die for a few minutes, apart from like several ults. She can keep herself alive with her invisibility. She has the team up with Ben, with Reed, with Johnny. She is an all-around amazing support character, and she is so well designed that she cannot possibly be any lower than S tier. Like, seriously. She does, like, decent damage on her own as well, which means she can 1v1 people if she really wants to. She shouldn't, but she can. And honestly, I don't even have that much to say. She's just that good of a character. Oh, my poor baby Jeff. Jeff isn't that good. His healing is okay. His bubbles are okay. He can use them to, like, make his ult better. But if you want, like, consistent healing, you have Luna, you have Loki, you have Invisible Woman. You have Adam Warlock, maybe. He does better. If you want damage, you have Adam Warlock, you have Loki. You don't want Jeff for this. People have been flanking with Jeff recently and using his ult. No. Just no. You don't need to do that. Just let poor Jeffy die. High C tier. Loki. Ooh. Loki is probably the most... Loki is the highest skill ceiling in my opinion, because Loki is a character that requires you getting used to every other character. And you can just use Loki for, like, team ults. You can just use Loki for copying your Luna ult. You can just use Loki for copying their Luna ult. You can use Loki for copying your Star-Lord ult. But you can do so much with Loki at, like, a given situation, and making those decisions has to be such a big thing. I think Loki isn't quite as consistent as Invisible Woman, but with his cooldown management, I think he's really, really good. If you get really good at managing his healing, his cooldown, his clones, clone placement, invisibility to place clones, and you just know your healing output at all times, you can do incredible with Loki. Oh, and he also has the team up with Hela to revive him, which is really good. Apologies. We all know Luna's S tier. There's nothing more I can say. Luna has a CC freeze. She has really good healing output, which she can increase with a shift. She has an ult that gives healing and damage increase, when Rockets only gives damage increase, and it's the same amount. It's 40%, I think, or 30%. It's absolutely insane Luna she has the team up too with Nemo, with Jeff, that gives them the ice that slows people down and freezes them. It's just absolutely insane. Seriously. Luna is such a great character. I can't say anything negatively about her. Honestly, she's on par with Invisible Woman. I don't know which one is better. There's really nothing more to say. Luna is just, it's so good. And she has to team up with Iron Fist, which I don't even really know what it does. Okay, I do. I just don't think it's that impactful from what I've seen. Mantis. I've been playing a decent bit of Mantis recently, and I think she is good. But I don't think she's that good. I think her ult is good, but it did get nerfed recently. I don't think it's doing as well as Luna's or Invisible Woman's or Loki using Luna or Invisible Woman's. I think you can play Mantis in like an Adam Warlock comp. When Loki, Luna are banned, or Luna Invisible Woman are banned, because then Loki doesn't do too much on his own. But I think Mantis on her own, she does good damage. She has a great damage buff. She can do well with Black Widow, making a one-shot. She can increase the damage of other people, get a ton of assists. But she has fallen off a bit from ye olden days. She's been replaced by Invisible Woman, and I don't think she's really going to go anywhere recently, unless she gets some buffs, which would be really cool. And finally, Rocket, the best character of all... No, not really. Okay, so a lot of people hate Rocket, because they hate Rocket players. And I agree sometimes. I think Rocket players can be really annoying. I've seen that one gif of the punk child Magic, just saying, yeah, thanks bro, because the Rocket is just shooting at her. Not healing, not shooting healing orbs. Just M1 shooting. And Rocket's healing output can be good, but you need to be consistent with it. Same with his damage output. You need to know when to damage, you need to know when to heal, and I think Rocket players don't understand that. And I think I literally can't put him anywhere else other than, like... No. Yeah, Jeff goes here. Other than High C. His E, his revive is really good. His ult is okay, but it can be destroyed. It doesn't do that much. His team up with Punisher and with Bucky, it's okay. His team up with Groot is nothing. Why would you want to be on the front line? Even if it's like lower accurate and makes you feel cool because you're on top of Groot and you're fighting, your team's gonna die, man. Let me just go over, let's see. So we've got yep, I think the Magneto is probably pretty high in general. I think these DPS are really solid, these heals are really solid. Yeah, there's nothing I really question about here. I think Groot... No, I think Loki goes a bit higher, actually. Loki might go, like, here. I think he's a little worse because he has to rely on these a bit, but still. Things really good. Hawkeye. I think I might have overrated Hawkeye a bit. I think Hawkeye goes down. Maybe, like... Yeah, I'd say about here. I think Adam Warlock's really high. People have really recently started to realize how good Adam Warlock is. And they've been using him a lot more in, like, comps against Dive, because he can do well against, like, Spider-Man, against Black Panther, sometimes against Venom, just because it keeps people alive. As long as you know when to time your soul bond. Yeah, this seems solid, I think. Human Torch above Magic, maybe? Yeah, that's a fair point. I think Human Torch might go below Magic. Yeah, that's solid. Some finishing touches. No, yeah, I think this is solid, to be honest. Yeah, I think that's the rest. Well, that is my Marvel Rivals tier list. I am very late to this, and Season 1.5 will be over soon. We have Season 2 on the horizon. Well, thank you all for tuning in. Let me know if you disagree with my takes, if you agree with my takes, if you think that I'm absolutely insane for saying that Bucky is one of the best DPS in the game, if you think that I'm overrating Adam Warlock, if you think that I'm a biased Cap main who is completely insane. All of those may be true. I don't know.